This is my intro music. Welcome to the video. I hope you like it lots, so don't forget to subscribe and click the thumbs up button. Now let's react.
Hey, hi, hello there, and welcome to the second part of An Anthropologist Watches Hannah Alonzo's TikTok's favorite rich influencer, but why? Influencer Insanity, episode 22. She is talking about Becca Bloom. This is all I know about Becca Bloom. I still haven't done any research on her. I still like reacting to this kind of blind. But if you recall, at the end of the last video, I hit the pause button and didn't unhit the pause button. So we backed up. You guys don't know what I said. I do. But so we're going to pick up from the cat. Feeding the cat. Because cats. And that's where I forgot to hit play or record again. So there's going to be a little bit of overlap from the last time we talked. Why is that up? There we go. I have notes. If you want the really long explanation of what we are doing here, do go watch part 1. It's at the beginning. You're just going to have to watch. But we are looking at this anthropologically. Hannah got a little bit of backlash for her take of Becca Bloom. It is very obvious that Hannah's usual analysis of these kinds of things did not hit the mark with her analysis of Becca. And it's interesting seeing that. And I have my thoughts as to why, and I've been sharing them throughout the videos. And typically, Hannah is very, very good at this. Typically, she's very, very good at this. But I think another thing that I'm realizing the more and more we watch Becca is she is very good at the dark anthropology manipulation aspects that we like to cover over here. She's good, right? And she's good enough that she got Hannah, right? Now, Hannah doesn't do what we do here. That's not Hannah's thing. This isn't Hannah's thing, right? Hannah does a lot of MLM stuff. She does a lot of this influencer stuff, which is usually very interesting to watch. I like going over her influencer insanity stuff because, again, it looks at a lot of material culture and influencer culture and that kind of stuff, which is very anthropological, archaeological adjacent for me. We are using a new book. Well, it's not new, but it's new for the channel. This is Alison Wylie's Thinking From Things. Did I link that in the notes? Oh, I don't think I put book links in the show notes for the last video. All right, well, we'll go fix that. But anyway, this is Essays on the Philosophy of Archaeology. It's a theory book. If you're doing anthropology, you're probably going to end up reading it or some version of it. This one's from 2002. Just letting you guys know what version I'm using because there's probably an updated version out there. Anyway, my point is we're using a new book. This is not dark anthropology. This is basic anthropology. I think this one has kind of a feminist lens to it, though, which is kind of nice. I think it's nice. Anyhow, we are going to be using our own special brand, our dark anthropology brand. Good God, over here. It's not that early in the morning. And yeah, and we are kind of going to be looking at the 48 laws here and there from Robert Greene. Just because that's what we do. We like looking at that kind of stuff. But the thing is the further we get into this, the more we're seeing those traits in Becca, and the more we're seeing them in action on Hannah. Now, the other thing that we have to keep in mind is Hannah did get quite a bit of feedback negatively from her audience. Not to the point where they were like rage quitting or anything. When I looked at this video last night, there were over 6,000 comments on it. Over 6,000. There's probably more now. But the ones that I looked at were like the top comment kind of things. None of them were particularly like heinous. They were all just pretty much pointing out what Hannah didn't get, which is fine. And Hannah has put out a statement, or at least there was a statement when I was looking at it last night. We went over it in the first video, and yes, it is very vague and blankety, but 6,000 comments. So I think Hannah did the best she could given what she's dealing with. So I don't think it was dismissive. I personally don't think it was very dismissive, but I think it was vague enough that she was trying to cover everyone's concerns. So there you have that. But we will be looking at Hannah's response to her responses at the end of all of this, just because it is relevant. So there's all of that. Do we need to say anything else before we get further into this again? Honestly, if you guys are more interested in the nitty gritty of the whys and the hows of part 2, I really suggest you go back and at least watch, I think it's the first 15-20 minutes of part 1. So there you have it. Thank you to everybody who's been supporting the channel. Thank you to my subscribers. Thank you to my members. You guys rock. Thank you to everybody who's going to hit the thumbs up button. These videos are going out to members first. So if you're interested in that kind of thing, I do have 3 levels of membership. And I hate shrinking these down, but I want to see more of the screen. I never know where to put my damn notes. So, all right. So when we left off, we were 14 minutes in the video. But we were talking about the cat. And, well, we were talking about the cat food. So, where were we here? Feeding the cats. She had just fed the dog. I personally didn't think the dog food thing was that weird. Excuse me. Other than it was extra. People are extra with their pets. The cat is about to be extra, extra. And Hannah's going to say something to the effect of, if this was any other influencer, I would think this was rage bait. And I think this is rage bait, but in a very subtle way, right? I guess we should watch the clip first, and then I will share my thoughts. She is sped up. No, she's not. She will be sped up. Nope, not that fast. Nope. There we go. I do have her sped up to 1:25, so if she's a little fast, that's why. All right, let's go.
My cat's breakfast with me. Oscar and I are actually eating from matching chargers this morning.
That's a Versace plate, by the way. The fact that the cat gets a charger is astounding enough, but a Versace charger is next level.
So one of the things we've been talking about throughout this entire series, this entire video is, both parts, is that Becca uses a lot of quiet wealth to the point where if you don't know what Becca's using, doing, wearing, you don't know. And I'm pretty sure we had to look up that that's a Versace plate. Now, I probably would have figured it out eventually. We have a Versace store in my mall. And Versace prints are really ugly. I don't understand why you people buy them. But that's kind of it. Like, I might have figured it out eventually just because I would have seen that print in the mall at some point. Right? Because, again, we have a Versace store in KOP. And I will have walked past it at some point. But her just putting that up there, Becca just being like, we're going to be eating off of chargers. First off, eating off of a charger, kind of bougie. I don't think everybody understands what a charger is. It's okay. It's not a big deal if you don't. You're not going to miss out on life. It's not that big of a deal. But that already puts Becca in a different kind of like, I don't want to, well, yeah, kind of a different little class than the average person. The average person doesn't eat off of a charger. A charger is a plate that goes under your plate. You get a plate for your plate. All right. So there's that kind of a thing. So there's only certain people that know what a charger is. You're either somebody that eats off of a charger, or you're the person that puts the charger there for the person to eat off the charger. All right. It's kind of where I'm going with this. The fact that Hannah had to look up that that was a Versace charger to tell us that it is kind of accentuates my point, though. Like, otherwise, you would be like, what's a charger? Okay, that's kind of bougie. But then you're like, oh, it's a Versace charger. I think she had the price tag for the Versace charger up there. Becca didn't say shit, right? And she wasn't like being bougie about the charger. She was just like, oh, everybody eats off a charger, right? Even it's so common. My cat and I are going to eat off of a charger, right? It's so common. I'm going to be cutesy to the point where my cat and I are going to eat off a charger together, right? That's kind of what I was talking about in the first video, is that Becca makes this Becca makes her wealth so casual and so common that she's, again, controlling the conversation around wealth. And by doing that, she's controlling the moral conversation around her wealth. And that goes under, it's one of the dark anthropology principles about controlling conversation. And by doing that, she controls our perception of the morality of extreme wealth, even. I don't know if she's like extreme wealth, but she's wealthier than the average person, and she's definitely wealthier than the average influencer, which is another thing Hannah kind of goes on about. And that's one of the reasons why I particularly think that Becca's got this manipulation tactic so good. Becca doesn't have to play up like a normal influencer does. Like, she doesn't have to be excited about being rich or having rich things or getting something boozy. Like, she doesn't have to be like, oh my God, it's a Versace Charger. It's a charger. Everybody uses chargers, right? Kind of a thing. And we're not talking about phone chargers. We're talking about the thing that goes under your plate. So the way that she just kind of so nonchalantly presents her wealth is the manipulation, right? So that's kind of where my point is. And we go on with this with the cat's food here. Let me finish this out.
Sushi grade salmon sashimi. Our chef also made Oscar this tuna bone broth blend, which smells like a stinky sock, but...
Another thing that you didn't notice with the tuna stuff that she serves up here. Why do I know these things? Because in anthropology, in archaeology, we study your dishes. That's why. And dishes have always been a wealth signaling thing. All right, this is what I was trying to get to. The little teacup here that she's using, this is a glass teacup, and this is a silver server. The glass cup comes out of the silver server. There's a name for this. I can't remember what it is exactly, but those of you who are like my tea service aficionados will probably know what the actual name of this little doodad is. But this is sterling. Because I serve my cats out of sterling silver. You know, it's an everyday thing here. But you don't know that unless you're paying attention, and you already know what it looks like, right?
Oscar this tuna bone broth blend, which smells like a
I mean, it could be plated. I doubt it.
stinky sock, but to each their own. Soft-boiled quail eggs. I'm just going to give him one because Oscar's also a little bit overweight. I don't know if these eggs are really hard to peel or if I'm just really bad at it. I think it's the latter. We have some salmon roe caviar for seasoning. I'm not going to put too much of it because I don't want to overwhelm him.
I don't want to overwhelm the cats. I think you already have. My cats will not eat this. Just letting you know. Like, this would be an absolute waste. They might eat the stinky sock tuna stuff. The rest of that, my cats will not touch.
The sentence, caviar for seasoning, but not too much because I don't want to overwhelm him, when talking about a literal cat, absolutely iconic.
Freeze-dried codfish, which I'm just going to sprinkle. Oscar's not going to eat these, but for presentation, we have some edible flowers.
Okay, that's just ridiculous. This is why I'm saying, are we sure this isn't rage bait? The cat doesn't care.
I always put a blueberry in his plate so he could play around with it after he's done. Not happy staring at him eat from the window.
The thing is, if I saw
So, all right, go
this
ahead.
exact same format of video from an influencer,
Right.
I would just assume that it's rage bait and that the creator is trying to curate this video to shock people and to try and elicit engagement on their post. I would assume that the purpose behind it is an internet creator trying to post something crazy to hit the algorithm. But
why do we not assume that about this simply because it's Becca? Because she's going to go on and be like, but I don't think that is about Becca.
Becca is not an internet creator. That's not her job anyway. That's not what funds her lifestyle. She works in finance, but we don't know too much more than that. She is private about it, but it really feels like she just stumbled upon internet fame. Here's a video that she posted just a couple months after.
Okay, now, personally, I don't understand why we wouldn't assume that the cat video wasn't, what do they call it? Farming. Interaction farming, rage baiting kind of a thing. It's ridiculous. It's over the top. She puts flowers on there for garnish. She puts a blueberry on there for the cat to play with afterwards. The cat's not going to eat those things. The cat isn't even going to register those things. The cat's going to eat around those things. You know? So there are definitely indicators on that cat's plate that this is extra for the sake of being extra, right? Now, she doesn't raise her voice. She doesn't stupidly giggle. She doesn't do any of the weird behaviors that a lot of influencers do when they're being extra, extra, right? So there is that, but it's still a strange behavior, I think, at any level, right? Now, the insight here is that this is a performance of status by Becca. This is a performance of her wealth, right? Becca is performing wealth here. And the way she's couching this is through care. This is her way of caring for her cats. So how can you criticize it, right? It's a way of protecting this wealth performance in a way that it is difficult to criticize. I'm taking care of my cat. The other one was the dog. The dog required a special diet. And so she's taking care of her dog. How can you criticize her trying to feed her dog well? The dog was overweight or something. Yeah, it's not just that she is feeding her cat with these extravagant pieces like sushi grade salmon and the caviar. It's not just a wealth display, because it is a wealth display. You know, my personal chef has basically created wet cat food for me to pour on top of the sushi grade salmon that my cat is not going to eat. Sorry. But it is assigning emotional normalcy around this wealth. And this goes back to what I was talking about with the morality of the wealth by controlling the conversation. By not bringing attention to any of this, I mean, she is bringing attention to it, but she's not like red arrowing the attention to any of this, right? She's not screaming about it. She's not flinging it around. She's not being over the top with any of it. She's just very calm. She's just like, everybody feeds their cat sushi grade tuna, right? Everybody has their personal chef make wet cat food for them, right? Everybody puts a little blueberry on the plate for their cats to play with afterwards, right? She makes it normal, right? She doesn't treat the charger as if it is a special tool, right? It's just a practical, everyday object to her, right? It's not an indulgence, right? She's like, my cat and I are going to eat off the same charger because she eats off of chargers, right? It's an everyday object for her. And because it's an everyday object for her, it's a sign of affection for her to be using it with the cat, right? Kind of a thing. So this is the way that she creates that normalcy around her wealth. And when you do that and you do it well, it makes it hard to criticize it, because Hannah doesn't see anything inherently wrong with it, because Hannah doesn't see how it's manipulative, right? Because Hannah's used to the over-the-top influencers who are trying to influence you to believe in their extravagant lifestyles, to believe in their over-the-top acting, to believe that they are wealthy when they are not. I agree. Becca is apparently actually wealthy and she has nothing to prove she is wealthy. I mean, clearly, she is wealthy. However, that doesn't mean she doesn't have an agenda. It doesn't mean that she isn't trying to manipulate us in some way or influence us in some way, right? Several people in Hannah's comments pointed out that Becca belongs to, I think it's a United Talent Agency. So she's a member of United Talent Agency. Just because Becca has a regular quote unquote full-time job doing finance or whatever it is, she later on tells us about what her job is. She has like 3 degrees or something crazy like that. I mean, typical overachiever kind of thing. I'm not knocking Becca's credentials or her achievements or anything like that, because I don't know enough about her. I mean, it could turn out next week that Becca is completely fabricated and is 100% a plant. You know, it could come out next week like that. But right now, we don't have any reason to doubt it. That does not mean that there is not an agenda here. And it does not mean that we are not being manipulated to fall for, or at least accept, this internet persona, right? And what she's selling us is this innocent rich girl, this rich best friend persona, and Hannah's falling for it. And that doesn't make Hannah a bad person. It makes Becca really good. Okay? That's what we're taking away from this. Hannah's not a bad person. She's not, you know, foolish or anything like that. Becca's good. Okay? But let's carry on. We stopped here. This is where I rounded up. So we didn't watch this part together.
After starting her TikTok account.
Just got back from a seafood restaurant and my rings are so disgusting right now. Let's clean it together while I spill some tea. First, we have to make sure we have our very scientific lab coat on. Tie the hair back. I also have these gloves. I'm not normally this scientific, but since I have an audience today, I thought I would be extra professional. I even have a magnifying glass. I don't really believe in jewelry cleaners, so I just use dish soap. Gotta stay hydrated. Tina, if you're watching, this is your toothbrush. I'm kidding. Kidding. Started TikTok 2 months ago, and honestly, I have no idea what I'm doing here, but you guys are so nice, so it's my new hobby now. I don't know how long I'm gonna stay here for, but hopefully a long time. Parents don't know what I'm doing on here. They honestly have no idea really what TikTok is. They just assumed that it was one of those like dance platforms, so for all they know, I'm dancing all day. No one in my immediate family has TikTok. I'm kind of the only one. They don't know what's going on, and honestly, neither do I. They don't know what I'm doing on here. I don't know what I'm doing on here, so we all don't. Da-da-da. Results. So maybe dish soap isn't the best way to go about it, but I feel like I did a really good job.
Okay, first off, dish soap is absolutely the worst way to do it, but you have enough money. Go get your jewelry cleaned at your jeweler. Take your jewelry back to your jeweler and get your jewelry cleaned at your jeweler. Your jeweler is watching this TikTok going, Jesus Christ. Okay, anyway. And we talked about that at the end of the last video. Scroll up. Where are my notes? Scroll. All right, so we were talking about the rings and her. More, we're talking about this moment that she's doing here, cleaning her rings and trying to be relatable, right? And she's actually doing 2 things here. She's giving us a little bit about herself. You know, she's opening up to us while doing something so basic as cleaning her own jewelry. We all clean our own jewelry. And everybody probably owns some jewelry, right? Everybody owns some piece of jewelry. Men, women, we all own some piece of jewelry, right? And some of us keep care of it, right? We take care of our jewelry. So this is a relatable moment for a lot of us, right? Because most of us don't have a jeweler we can go take our jewelry to and have them clean it professionally. That's her engagement ring. Just, putting it out there. But the thing is by doing this, she's creating a faux relatability here. She's intentionally being banal, being harmless, and she's trying to be relatable, right? She's empathy mining with her audience, and she's trying to create a parasocial relationship with her audience. She's inviting you, the audience member, into her kitchen to put on her cozy robe for her scientific lab coat, which is her big white fluffy cozy robe, and she puts on gloves to use dish soap and water on her jewelry because it's oh so abrasive. I actually make jewelry cleaner, and that I would wear gloves using because it's abrasive. But there you go. But everything I've been talking about up to this point falls under law 3 of the 48 laws of power, which is concealing your intentions. Her intent isn't to influence, isn't it though? But the thing is we don't quite know what her intention here is yet. We will eventually. I mean, it all comes out in the wash. But right now, what is she doing? Maybe she is bored. Maybe this is her hobby. Maybe she really does just want to see how big of a channel she can create on TikTok. Maybe that is the goal, right? Some people just want to see what they can do. Maybe she isn't working for United Talent Agency. Maybe she hired them to build this channel for her, right? She clearly has the money. Why not? That could be. Okay? But at the same time, maybe they were like, hey, let's see how fast we can build a rich influencer up into a mega influencer, right? Kind of a thing. And and this is also goes to the concept of recreating yourself. This is Rebecca Bloom is a character, right? We're all characters on the internet, right? She's a modern life fairy tale heiress who is chill, and she's gorgeous, and she's normal, and she's your best friend, and she's gonna bring you in to her beautiful home and walk you around her beautiful wedding venue and show you her gorgeous wedding jewelry and her beautiful wedding invitations, and you get to sit in the kitchen with her while she cleans her jewelry and very quietly tells you about, you know, her backstory of where she's from and who her parents are and other things, or why she even started doing TikTok in the first place. And isn't it funny? Ha ha ha. My parents don't know anything about TikTok. They just think it's a dancing app. Tee hee hee hee. You know, kind of a thing. So it all is just very disarming, right? And this is very strategically performative, right? She asks advice from her audience. She's palatable. Again, this is trying to create intimacy between her and her audience. And it works, according to Hannah. Claiming that she is not an influencer is misleading because influencers influence. And they influence more than just material purchases, right? The material culture does extend beyond just physical, especially in today's modern age. It extends beyond just what I can actually touch. I argue, the internet is material culture, and your eyeballs are on her TikTok. You are consuming her TikToks, right? That is material culture. She is influencing you to keep watching. Okay? That's damn good influencing. Again, Law 32, playing into people's fantasies. We talked about this in the first video. Becca's playing into the fantasy of being the kind, stylish, rich best friend who's always going to be there for you, who you can rely on, who you can get advice from, you know, that kind of a thing. And at the same time, she is courting attention. This is Law 6. Because she's quietly outrageous. That cat video, I'm sorry. That maybe this is not rage bait, but it is definitely engagement bait. Nobody feeds their cat like that. Even rich people. I don't care. Argue with me all you want. That cat's not eating that food, and she knows it. Okay? She put flowers on there saying, the cat's not going to eat these, but I'm putting it on for garnish anyway. All right. That's performative, right? So at least some parts of that cat video she did specifically as performance for that video, right? So she is being quietly outrageous. And maybe it's one of these things where she's just slowly testing the waters, slowly seeing how quietly outrageous she can be and get away with it, and just slowly building that up over time, right? So we'll see. We shall see. But again, this all goes back to the moral masking, her perceived innocence. It is a deflection against critique. She doesn't outright come out and brag about her wealth. We're cleaning her rings. Do you know how much these rings cost? I know how much her necklace costs. I can guess what these rings cost. But since she seems so humble and so innocent and so quiet, it's very hard to critique her. She's in a protective bubble that even the queen of this, I would argue that Hannah is like the queen of this. Even she has a hard time critiquing Becca for her behavior, right? So I'm just saying, Becca's really good. All right, anyway.
Da-da-da.
You can't tell me she's not endearing, at the very least. And I love this.
I mean, I don't have any problems with Becca, honestly. Like I said, we overthink shit here. Honestly, I don't have a problem with Becca right now. I don't currently have any real reasons not to like or dislike whoever this person is, honestly. She's got good fashion sense. I like her makeup, her hair looks nice. She doesn't seem to be an outrageous person who I want to like put through a wall somewhere. She doesn't seem to be giving out like misinformation, medical, whatever. She just seems to be like a rich person on the internet who's just living their daily life. You know, I don't care, honestly. So endearing, I guess. But like, I also, past watching Hannah's video, I'm probably not going to ever interact with her. Now, some year down the road, someone's going to be like, oh, Becca Bloom. And I'll be like, I know that name. So, you know.
This video because it is so clear that she just got TikTok for fun, and this is a hobby of hers, and she's already got so much more going for her off of social media. Even just the way her videos are edited and how choppy they are and how she regularly cuts off her own phrases, it's so funny to me. It's one of my favorite qualities about her content because it's clear that she's new at this. She doesn't really know how to edit videos yet, and she doesn't have the time to bother with refilming it.
I honestly think that could be very strategic, though. I think that you could very easily study that and understand that that is what it takes to look new and performative and innocent. I guess I'm running out of good words, but I honestly think that could be very performative, and that lends itself to, you know, the more manipulative ends of being an influencer, especially if the brand you're building is I'm the relatable, you know, humble rich girl, right? Who's just doing TikTok for the hell of it.
Gives off the impression that TikTok is not really somewhere she belongs. In fact, somebody commented once, it's crazy that someone this rich has TikTok. And it really does feel that way. It feels like Becca is out of place on social media for all the best reasons. She's refreshing. She doesn't act in a way that you would expect somebody with that much money to act, and it's intriguing to see. It's almost...
Really? How did we... Here's my real question for you guys. How do you expect... how rich do we really think Becca is? I mean, clearly she's rich. She's much richer than I am. But how do you really expect people like Becca to act? There's a conversation I think that we will have later on about old money versus new money. And there's a definite cultural difference when it comes to that. And I would argue that Becca falls into old money because she's not insane about wealth signaling, right? She's definitely a quiet wealth signaler, right? She doesn't wear flashy things. She doesn't yell at us about the brands. She doesn't rub things in our face. You know, I've talked about how her wealth, she does signal. I'm not saying she doesn't. Everything she has a brand on it, right? You just need to know what it is. Probably every fucking thing in that house has a brand on it. You just have to know what it is. But that's kind of the point. You don't, unless you already know, right? As opposed to other people whose names I don't know because I really don't follow a lot of influencers who are constantly telling you, you know, how's that song go? Gucci, Gucci, Louis, Louis, Fendi, Fendi, Prada, you know, is kind of the thing. Like, you got to tell me you got to tell me the brand you've got on so that I know that you're wearing that brand. Because I need to know. I don't, though. I really don't.
It's like when you watch Becca's videos, it makes you realize that influencers are kind of just cosplaying rich people. Like, they're not actually wealthy. They're being performative with their money, but it's this is true wealth. Like, Becca is a level above. And we'll talk about that a little bit more later on, but somebody else commented, your audience is nice because you're nice. Becca really...
Well, that is true. I have found that the creator does influence their audience. So I'm not going to say, like, if you're the nicest influencer ever, that you're not going to have shitty people in your comments section. But I have noticed, like, the more stable the creator seems to be, the more stable their audience appears to be. Amber, I think, is an excellent example of that.
He does not have haters.
Not being stable.
At this point, she comes across kind and respectful and somehow even humble, which is shocking given that she's very privileged and you wouldn't expect her to present that way. There must be a lot of people who are like me who are like, who is this girl and where did she come from? Because she posted this video where she starts to give more details into her background and her life.
And that I think that series of questions, I think shows that Becca is doing exactly what she means to be doing. I think she means to be creating this image of the innocent, the humble, the quiet, rich girl that everyone can relate to. A Robin Hood-esque figure, if one will, because I mentioned this in the last video. And Hannah's falling for it. And there's other people, clearly, who are falling for it as well. Right? That, again, does not make them bad people. I am not saying that. And the first person who says that in my comment section, you are dead to me. But that's kind of my point. She's clearly got this game plan. And again, I do wonder, I know several people in the comment section of Hannah's videos mention that Becca works for a talent agency. I do wonder, though, if it's not the reverse. If Becca didn't hire the talent agency to work for her.
Hi guys, I realize most of you don't know me yet, so today I'm going to do a little get to know me session. I started this TikTok account a week ago, and it was literally for my cat, to edit that cat video at the start, and I never knew that people would actually want to watch me. So I'm from the Bay Area, from a little small town called Atherton. I went to school in Los Angeles where I studied
Oh, really? Oh, a little small town, huh? Gotcha. We'll talk about that.
business, economics, and minored in law. My fiance and I met at a little coffee
Oh, that's cute. It's got the effect down here. Effect, flawless skin. I can't. Dear OBS, why can't I have effects? I want flawless skin.
shop in Palo Alto when he first moved down from Canada, because that's where he's from. He works in tech, and so does most of my family. I want to give my parents as much privacy as possible, but obviously they're extremely successful, and they're both entrepreneurs working in tech and real estate. But that doesn't stop me from working as hard as possible to be the best I can be. I think it only motivates me. I love dogs. I have a dog right now and a cat, as you guys have seen, and I have had like 5 dogs throughout my life. Their names are Lucky, Bubbles. Okay, that was my dog. His name is Happy. I have always loved shopping and anything to do with fashion. I grew up doing ballet, tennis, and surprisingly Math Olympiad as well. I hope at least...
No, that's not surprising at all. I mean, I hate to be a stereotyper, but you're about to tell me that you have like 3 degrees. I'm not even a little bit surprised.
one person found this interesting. If not, I'm sorry. I'll go back to regular scheduled programming.
The biggest takeaways from this video are that her parents are extremely wealthy and successful, obviously. She has a college education in business, economics, and law, and she does have her own job outside of social media. Again, she is kind of
And she has no waist. Wow.
private about what her and her parents do for work, but she does occasionally show herself at the office, in meetings, and traveling for work, and she definitely does something in finance, particularly stocks. And I really want to focus on this because truly, I think the fact that she has a job off of social media is the crux of why she comes across as relatable, even though most of what she posts is extremely unrelatable. Let's just put it this way, Becca doesn't need us. She's not manipulating any kind of parasocial relationship with her followers.
No. We're gonna disagree there. So, just a girl from Atherton. This is a small town of Atherton. Atherton's one of the wealthiest zip codes in America. One of. So, girl, it's not like you're from the Midwest. Anyway, very relatable. Anyway, my point is, it's fine. It's a small town. It's fine. I don't actually care. It's just, that's another one of the ways that she's just nonchalant about it. I'm from a small town called Atherton. Oh, you're a small town girl. Oh, okay. I can totally relate to that. I mean, I'm not technically a small town girl. Well, I mean, I am, but I'm not. Indianapolis is it's a special place. It's a very special place. If you're from there, you understand. Especially if you grew up there in the 80s and the 90s, you understand. The point is, she just drops it like it's nothing, right? And everybody, all you hear is, I'm a small town girl. There are a lot of small town girls out there, right? There are more small towns than there are big towns, right? So, you get that. And again, she doesn't just out and out go, I'm rich. She does say things like, obviously my parents are very successful. She's aware that she's rich, right? So she's not unaware. So that shows that she is self-aware. Excuse me. Which also adds an interesting layer to what she does. Now, claiming that she is not trying to create a parasocial relationship with her audience is flat out no. That I don't believe that. I am currently building the argument that she is not doing that. I am currently building the argument that she's definitely building a parasocial relationship with her audience, right? And my argument is that she is successfully doing so. That she is successfully doing so by disarming her audience, by making them not believe that she is trying to build a parasocial relationship with them. What is her agenda? I don't know yet. I don't watch enough of her. I don't know if I ever will. I don't think I care that much. I don't know. Maybe by the end of this I will. But her having a full-time job, I mean, I assume it's a full-time job, but her having a career outside of TikTok maybe does make her a little bit more relatable than the average influencer because, you know, like she has a job. Like she went to college for a job. She clearly worked for said job. She is working for said job. She makes her own money in her own way, right? She's not one of these, she does not appear to be, what do they call them? One of these people that just lives off of other people's money, right? What are they called? I have no words. Anyway, my point is, she makes a living. She makes a paycheck. She has to get up in the morning. She has to go into the office. She has to do what her bosses tell her to do. She has reports she has to put together, like she was showing us. I don't know what the fuck that thing said. I don't know. There was a pie chart and some numbers and some columns. Something was happening there. You know, that's the kind of thing, though. So yeah, that does make her more relatable. So, you know, when people complain about being tired after work, I mean, she understands, right? She can understand that. There's that. So she's not like one of these people that's like, oh my God, I spent all day making videos. I'm making my TikToks all day. Amber, you know, she works all day and then she comes home and she makes a couple little TikToks here and there. And then it is a hobby for her, but that doesn't mean she doesn't have an agenda. And it doesn't mean she isn't trying to create a parasocial relationship with her audience, right? Anyway.
In order to earn her living. She doesn't need the support of social media viewers to fund this lifestyle of luxury, and that's what captivates people. Where her money is coming from makes all the difference in how digestible her content is to viewers.
If that is the argument Hannah is trying to make, at least in this section, is that Becca's income is not dependent on her TikTok, That sounds to me like the argument that Jesus Christ. That sounds like the argument that Hannah is trying to make right now about Becca, is that Becca doesn't need TikTok because Becca's income is not tied to TikTok. Therefore, Becca doesn't have the need to make sure that she is constantly engaging and driving her TikTok interactions and her audience interactions, because if she does well on TikTok or not doesn't matter, because she has a successful income and is already wealthy outside of TikTok. That is the current argument. Okay? And that's fine. She's not wrong. Hannah's not wrong. Right? That is a correct observation as far as I can tell. I have no reason not to believe that observation. However, as I have been saying, that does not mean there is not an agenda, and that does not mean there is not manipulation and the attempt to build an audience on TikTok, right? She has, when this video went live, 3.5 million followers on TikTok and counting, right? I have no idea where she's at right now, and I'm not going to go check. But that's kind of the point.
That icky dynamic between follower and influencer doesn't exist because in this case, her followers are not playing a significant role in how her money is made. So
that does not mean that the icky relationship between influencer and followers can't exist, though.
So therefore, it doesn't come across as tasteless when she then flaunts that money. Because I think it's true that there's always that like underlying feeling of like when you see your favorite influencers transforming into someone that you don't really like anymore, you don't really care for anymore because of the money they're making and how they're handling.
And I can understand, I'm so sorry about that free space. I can understand that argument as well. Like, you know, you see an influencer, they start to make money and then they start to flaunt the wealth that they're making, but they've been making that money because the audience has been interacting with them. So the audience starts to feel slightly betrayed or slightly icky because the influencer is only able to afford these things because of the influence that they have because of the audience. I understand that argument as well.
You're kind of reminded of your own role within that. Like, wait, my support of you, my viewership of you has funded this lifestyle, and it has kind of contributed to this change in your personality and the way you present yourself into something that I don't really like anymore. And again, this was a big conversation that we had in my last Influencer Insanity video about influencers who have changed, but that weird dynamic isn't present in Becca's content. And there's absolutely a conversation in here about...
But Becca also started her channel in like January, so she hasn't had time to change, in my opinion. So, I mean, give it time.
Old money versus new money, which has also come up in some of my videos previously. Becca very clearly has old money. She comes from generational wealth, which now she's carrying on through being well educated and having a lucrative job herself. But
I don't know. She mentions that her parents were both entrepreneurs and that they were both successful. I would like to know, one of them she said was tech and the other one was real estate. There we go. Words. I would like to know, and that's purely curiosity, and there's no reason for Becca to ever share this information, so this is not, don't dig, I don't care enough. But curiosity, how generational is Becca's wealth? Like, is she second generation? Is she, well, if she was second generation, there'd be some other things going on statistically. But like, she's probably more than second or third generation wealth just because of her behavior around the wealth. Statistically. I could be wrong. Don't get me wrong. So, but I would like to know how generational her wealth actually is, right?
wealth is and has always been a way of life for her. It's not something that she just stumbled upon as a result of internet fame, as is true of many big influencers. These influencers tend to have new money that they have made through the act of influencing, and therefore it is loud money. You can see that shift in their content over time. They used to be down to earth and relatable, and now they're being loud and in your face with that newfound wealth. They're rubbing it in, and it makes people uncomfortable. People don't like feeling like that. And in many cases, influencers are faking it till they make it. They're putting on a performance for social media, trying to portray a life they don't actually live behind the scenes. But that's not true of Becca's content. She posts what she wants, when she wants, without catering to anybody on social media, because she's not here to make money on views. She's not seeking anybody's approval in order to grow on social media to make her money. And quite frankly, any money that she does make from TikTok is likely irrelevant to her in the grand scheme of her finances, okay? And that gives her content a certain charm that not many other people have. It's clear that she started TikTok as a hobby, and she kind of has this attitude of like, I heard young people my age have this thing called TikTok, so I downloaded it and I thought I'd start posting some videos for fun. And that's a big contrast to what we tend to see a lot these days, which is young people desiring to become an influencer. So they start selling their soul to the algorithm, posting whatever they have to make it big so that they can then rake in the views and the money. It comes across like she's not documenting these things because she's desiring to become somebody or to prove something. It's just the way she truly lives. And it kind of feels like she's gracing us with the opportunity, as gross as that sounds, to peek into someone's life who is truly living a life of absolute luxury.
And yes. So I think Hannah got it, didn't hear it when she got it. Hannah is gracing us with the chance to look into her life. That is transactional altruism. She is allowing us to look into her life. She is gifting us, much like Anna likes to say, she is gifting us with the opportunity to see into her life, to play in her closet, to, look at her charger plates, kind of thing. And this creates a transaction between us, the audience, and her, the creator. And she's inviting us to basically consume her lifestyle alongside her, seemingly asking for nothing in return, but our eyeballs, right? In this modern era, the internet is culture. It is culture. But it is the material culture. It is the thing that we are being influenced to consume here. So she is actually influencing us to consume her content, right? One could say she wants the attention. Now, she doesn't come off like foodie or any of the other girls in Girl World. And I'm not saying that Becca belongs in Girl World. She's so completely opposite, but that doesn't mean that she's not seeking attention, right? And that she's not getting something out of the attention that she's receiving from having people consume her content, right? She's influencing us to consume her content. So she is influencing us, right? So we are consuming her lifestyle through her content. And that's how we are being influenced by Becca Bloom, right? And that's the transactional influence here, is I am allowing you to see my life, to have these little glimpses into my life, my perfect rich life, right? So far, I mean, it's been a perfect rich life, right? It's what we all assume being rich would be like. It's calm. There doesn't seem to be much in the way of drama. She's pretty. She has nice hair. She's got lovely clothing. She has Versace Charger plates. She has a sterling silver tea set that she cleans her jewelry in. Kind of a thing. She feeds her cat caviar. It's a nice life. You know? She's super rich. She has a custom-made $400,000 bridal necklace. Because why not? You know, she's allowing us to look at this perfect rich life and to be our perfect rich best friend. That's the transaction. And all she's asking for in return are our eyeballs and our adoration, right? That's what's happening here. That's what got missed. Because she's not shilling supplements or selling drink mixes or telling us that we need to go do some, I don't know, what do influencers do? Telling us that we need to go buy some 40-ounce water bottle, or that we need to go eat some food box that gets delivered to the door every day or something like that. You know, she's not doing the typical influencer shit, right? Is kind of my deal. That we need to go on a certain cruise, or that we need to drink Starbucks, or any of that kind of stuff. She's not doing any of that, right? Because the product that she is selling us is her, right? And that's what got missed. And again, I'm not mad. I'm not mad.
This is a life most people only dream of, and we're getting to see snippets of it. But she's managing to do it in such a way that doesn't turn people off. Her humility really comes through in the way that she phrases things also. In that video I just showed you, for example, where she's talking about how she was raised, she said that she grew up, quote, in a little small town called Atherton.
Again.
And then she just kind of breezes on to the next thing, as if that's not a hugely significant statement.
Right, exactly. Hannah's going to hit this.
For her to make. What if I told you that Atherton, California was the wealthiest zip code in the entire United States?
It is. Oh, I knew it was one of the wealthiest. I didn't know it was the wealthiest.
The median home listing price in Atherton is just under $8 million. But she said it so humbly, like, oh, I just grew up in this small town. It's called Atherton, yada yada, moving on. And it's like the viewer would only know that that's...
Where does she live now? Does she mention?
The big deal if they had known about Atherton previously. She doesn't make a big deal of it in this video. The same thing happens in one of her earlier videos she posted where she's giving people a jewelry tour of the jewelry pieces that she wears every single day. And as she's going along pointing at things, she's not really giving brand names for a lot of them, but we can see with our own eyes that she's wearing like 5 different Van Cleef pieces, along with a Cartier bracelet, a Tiffany bracelet, that ginormous engagement ring. And the part that really stood out to me is that she pointed to the Rolex on her wrist and said, oh, this is just my day-to-day watch.
And then along with that is like a day-to-day watch.
I don't know much about Rolexes, if you can believe it, so I don't know exactly which one this is, but it looks very similar to this watch I found that's over $14,000.
She has a $400,000 custom-made bridal necklace. Sure, she's wearing a $14,000, here we go, watch. Rolexes are expensive.
Calling a $14,000 watch your day-to-day watch is mind-boggling.
Dude, if I spent $14,000 on a fucking watch, I'd be wearing it every day, too. I'm getting my money out of it. Rolexes are also like, you know, if you break it, they'll fix it, so... I don't know how durable they are. It's not like I would go buy one just because I'm like, oh, that thing's rugged. That's kind of how I buy things. How rugged is it? Can I drop it from a skyscraper and it will still work?
But it's also that sense of just quiet luxury where she's not telling you the brand. She's not focusing on it. She's not saying to you how expensive it is or how much she paid for it, because the goal here is not to flaunt her wealth necessarily.
She is 100% flaunting her wealth. She is 100% wealth signaling, 100% flaunting her wealth. The trick is you don't know it unless you know. Or you're like Hannah, and me if I'm being particularly nosy, and you're going to go look that shit up. And you know that she's wearing a $14,000 watch or however much all of those Van Cleef pieces cost, because she is wearing like a bajillion of them. You know, unless you're going to go through the extra effort and hunt down all of these pieces. And Hannah's just focusing on the jewelry. I'm like, how much does that shirt cost? You will be very surprised how much that shirt might cost if I could track it down, which I'm not going to bother. You know, how much is the makeup she's wearing cost? What does her skincare cost? What was the price tag on her shampoo? These are the other, not that you can track that down, but like her makeup, I understand that she has a very subtle makeup on and that she's using a flawless skin filter effect, but how much was your lipstick? I'm just asking for a friend. It's a very lovely shade. Whose is it and how much was it? You know? I talk about this kind of stuff all the time. Like, that blush. Whose blush? Whose blush are you wearing? How much did you pay?
It's just to show you what jewelry she likes to wear in her everyday life. And because she's so rich, her everyday jewelry is really expensive. And you can see in most of her...
Oh, shit. Does she really have one of those? Hang on. I saw the snake. Sneak. Can I get back to that? No, stop it. Hate you.
To flaunt her wealth
Yeah, that's
necessarily.
the one.
It's just to show you what jewelry she likes to wear in her everyday life. And
Does she have the snake bracelet?
because she's so rich, her everyday jewelry...
Ah, she does. That snake bracelet, we're not going to talk about the price tag on that snake bracelet. It's like the accompanying necklace. I only know this because I just went into the store. We have one in KOP. The accompanying necklace is $2,500 before you put diamonds on it. So I mean, I guess the bracelet's probably less than that. Probably.
is really expensive. And you can see in most of her videos that she's posted in the months since.
Yep, it is. It is. It is. Oh, dang, that thing's gorgeous. They really are pretty, though. Who makes those? I'm going to say the wrong name. I'm going to pronounce it wrong. Like bulgogi or something like that? I want to say bulgogi, but that's not right. That's meat. Anyway, somebody will know what I'm talking about.
She genuinely does wear this stuff every day. It's one of those things where if you don't know what you're looking at, you wouldn't know
And
how
yes, that's a
expensive it
tip.
is. But if you do know what you're looking at, then you can tell that she's got hundreds of thousands of dollars on her body right now.
And again, we're not talking about her makeup and her t-shirt and, you know, whatever other products she's wearing.
So tell me why the way she's presenting this still feels somewhat relatable. It kind of messes with my head a little bit. This is another example.
Because she's doing a really good job of manipulating you. And you're unfortunately falling for it because she's doing a really good job of manipulating you. Which again brings me back to who is working for who? Is the talent agency working for her or is she working for the talent agency? Because I feel like the talent agency is working for her.
Of the quiet luxury.
Okay, so my dad recently bought my mom a new car for their anniversary.
Is that a Jaguar?
It is really pretty. It's in this color called lavender gray.
That is a beautiful color.
But what I really wanted to show you guys is there's an umbrella in here. If I push this button really hard, okay, I don't know how to get this out, but if I push this button really hard, an umbrella will come out. Okay, I figured it out. So if I push this, an umbrella will come out.
Okay, that's actually really clever.
Isn't that really cool? I didn't know cars could be so cool.
Somebody commented on this video saying she's wealthy. Rich people say this Rolls Royce. Wealthy people say this car.
Oh, it was a Rolls Royce. My bad. My bad. I don't know cars.
And that was a light bulb moment for me to really sum up the point that I'm trying to make, that I really do get the impression she's not trying to be in your face with the money, but she just thought this was a cool feature of the car and she...
One of the areas I drive in actually has, like, that's where all the luxury car dealers are. And it's a little weird driving past like 3 of them all in a row. It's a little strange. Because it's just like, you just get car blind to it after a while. It's just strange.
She wanted to show people. She's like, yeah, my dad just gifted my mom this car, but look at the umbrella. And the fact that this is a $400,000 Rolls Royce is kind of beside the point to her. It's like that expression that fish
It's roughly the same price as her bridal necklace.
Don't know that they're swimming in water. They don't notice their unusual environment because they're so deeply immersed in it that they can't see it. It's just a part of them. It's just how life is. And this is a theme that I noticed throughout her videos, that she will say the most out of pocket, ridiculous things, completely deadpan, as if they're completely normal. She drops these insane one-liners where the viewer's just looking at her like, did you really just say that? Did that come out of your mouth?
Because it is normal for her, though. Let's for a minute step back and reconsider what we just said here. We are talking about cultural differences. Like, yes, for me, that is a weird statement, I guess. I don't know. It doesn't really even hit my register, honestly. But for Hannah, that is a weird statement, right? Because A, you're never going to own a car like that. And B, okay, look, having an umbrella spot inside your car door is actually pretty brilliant. I want that. But I'm not going to go buy a $400,000 car so that I can have that. But for Becca, clearly, this is a normal thing. And she's probably like, I want one of them. I'm going to go buy me one of these, kind of a thing, right? That's normal for her, right? This goes back to the concept of, quiet wealth and old money versus new money, that kind of a thing. I mean, that's just practical, honestly, if you think about it. What other rain features does it have? Sort of a thing. So yeah, for us, that's like a wild statement. Like, I'm going to feed my cat caviar, but I don't want to overwhelm his palate. Okay, sure. But for her, maybe that is just an everyday statement. I still say that video is like engagement bait, but
the way that you're saying it doesn't convey the insanity of it, but it just adds to her likability because you can tell she's not trying to prove anything. She's just out here being herself. And
does it really make her likable, though? I mean, I'm not morally offended by this video. But again, I'm not morally offended by this video because Becca has controlled the conversation around wealth. She, like the little comment said, she didn't say this was a Rolls Royce. She just said, this is a car that my dad gifted to my mom. First off, gifting someone a car is crazy talk. That will never happen in my family. But, that's my family. For a lot of people, they did get gifted cars, right? That's not that uncommon of a thing. It's just uncommon in my family, right? So, right there. But Becca controls the conversation around wealth, extreme wealth, and the morality of that wealth, right? I'm not offended because we're literally talking about numbers that just don't make sense to me at this point. And Becca's lifestyle is just so outside of my lifestyle that I don't even bother with it because it's like watching a movie. It's requires me to suspend belief in order to process it. But because of that, Becca has control of the conversation, right? And that's where we're at. Becca controls the conversation right now. She controls the concept of morality around money, around wealth, around what she shows us. And because she can control that conversation, she can manipulate the conversation the way she wants it to go.
And what I did is I actually made a compilation of like crazy things that Becca has said. I spliced them all together, so I'm just gonna rapid fire show these to you.
A lot of you guys have asked for my watch collection, and to be honest, I'm not the biggest watch person. I don't go out of my way to buy watches. Over the years, my family has gifted me a few pieces, and to me, they hold mostly sentimental value. The majority of my watch and jewelry collection are actually stored in a bank vault, but I needed this blue watch for an upcoming event this weekend, so I thought, while I have this particular box, why not show you guys some of the Patek Philippe's that I have.
Imagine being so wealthy that you store your jewels in a bank vault.
Imagine having jewelry so expensive you need to keep it in a bank vault. That's the real thing. Not that it's not that her jewelry collection is so large that she needs to put it in a bank vault. It's that she has jewelry so expensive it needs to be kept in a bank vault in order to be kept safe. That's what you missed.
Like your possessions are too valuable that they don't fully feel safe in your own home, so you
Right.
have to store them in a bank vault. That blows my mind.
Right.
My breakfast with me. Our chef usually likes to do a combination of Eastern and Western cuisine. I've been obsessed with this little mini corn on the cob. A couple of those. Also like to add a little bit of caviar just for seasoning purposes.
To be fair with the caviar thing, though, I can go to Wegmans and buy caviar right now. It's like on the shelf. I can just buy it if I wanted it. It's not that big of a deal. Caviar sounds bougie, but like I literally can go buy it right now. There's like, it's expensive. I mean, but I can get a jar of it for like $13. It's probably not what she's eating. Don't get me wrong. I'm not gonna pretend like my $13 jar of caviar that I don't own, by the way, is the same thing as whatever the fuck she's eating, but it's not that big of a deal.
Firstly, this silverware egg felt shocking. I'd never seen anything like that before, so I looked it up. That is a $2,000 flatware set.
Okay, well, first off, the silverware egg is fucking cool. And if I ever find a $20 version of it, I'm buying the fucking thing. All right? Because that's a conversation starter. Where's your silverware? In the egg. What? In the egg. Right there. Come on, that's fun. I'm not paying no $2,000 for it, though.
Then she drops the line of our chef prepared, which checks out for her lifestyle, followed by another caviar for seasoning purposes as she dumps 2 giant spoonfuls on her plate. It's just astounding like how nonchalant she is about all of this.
I was browsing through the fridge just now and I came across 50 of these wooden boxes and I was very confused. I thought it was tea at first and then I opened it right up and look at what's inside. This giant apple.
Oh my god. Okay, I know what these are.
For reference, okay, I have a normal large Honeycrisp apple right next to this.
Hold on, she was browsing through the fridge and she came across 50 wooden boxes.
First off, how did you get 50 of those in your fridge? But let's go.
How big is your fridge, Becca? Now I'm envisioning like this industrial size walk-in refrigerator in her house, which
I mean, maybe.
honestly would not be at all surprising. But that line alone, like, oh, I was just browsing through the fridge and I came across 50 wooden boxes, each containing a giant specialty apple. Like, what? Imagine a life where you don't even know what's in your own fridge because you have someone else who handles your groceries and your meal preparation for you.
Okay, look. I don't know what's in my fridge right now. To be fair, it's because my partner's been doing the groceries for the last few weeks, and I'm like, I don't know what's in the fridge right now.
I don't know why we have 50 giant apples in our home, but I'm gonna do a taste test for you guys to determine if apples that come in wooden boxes taste better than normal grocery store apples. It tastes like a normal apple.
I love her for that, okay? You know, money doesn't always buy taste, literally. This one is really good. I loved this one.
My mom and her Neiman sales associate just got back from
Neiman sales associate. Neiman Marcus.
a weekend shopping trip in Tokyo, and he got me a little gift. I already opened it, but I wanted to show you guys.
My mom and her Neiman sales associate just got back from a little weekend shopping trip in Tokyo.
Okay, this just tells me that I need to go become a Neiman sales associate. How do I do this? And how do I become friends with people like Becca's mom who are going to take me on a shopping trip to Tokyo? This is what I need to know.
He got me a little gift. Like, Becca, what is your life? The little gift was a pair of vintage Chanel suspenders, by the way. This is what makes her videos so engaging. You never know what's going to come out of her mouth or what wild experience she's going to tell you about. Everything she posts gives you a peek into a life you can't even begin to imagine.
Mom just told me that I need to stop embarrassing her every time we go to the mall together because I wear the same aloe sweatsuit. So today I'm gonna dress up a little bit. My base outfit is this Chanel cardigan and these frame jeans. Accessorizing, I'm thinking of either this mini bag, which fits nothing but my mother's patience for me, or this vintage Chanel top handle and then these loafers. Let me know which you think is better.
Fits nothing but my mother's patience for me is gold. If Becca starts selling merch with her phrases on it, I would buy it. She is living such an iconic life and she's doing it with the most deadpan humor. I love it. And as you can see from the background of this video, this is her house, you guys. This is where she lives. It's actually her parents' house, but that's where she's living right now until she gets married, I believe. I think it's a cultural thing.
That was going to be my next. It's a cultural thing. What? Okay. Anyway. Wait, what? What did you just say? Lots of people live with their parents until they get married. It's not okay. Anyway, we're just gonna ignore that one. Where was I going with this? Fuck, that took me off guard. Anyhow, I don't remember where I was gonna say. I think I was going to say something about the jeans and how I like them.
Thing for her. Here's some videos that she's posted where you can see other parts of her house in the background and it looks like she's living in a palace. It's not what you would expect a social media influencer's house to look like. This is a level.
Really? Because the McMansion thingy is kind of mimic this kind of thing, which I think has been part of Anna's, gosh, damn it. I was even looking at her name so that I wouldn't say that. Hannah's argument. This has been part of Hannah's argument throughout the entire video, is that Becca is actual money. Therefore, she doesn't have to pretend to be money. And a lot of influencers aren't money, and this is what they're cosplaying as. And that's the major difference here, is that Becca doesn't have to cosplay because she is. But other influencers, the kind that annoy us, the kind that Hannah usually covers, they are trying to portray this level of wealth even when they don't have it.
Level above. This is a level we've never seen before.
Hi guys, I wanted to come on here and show you guys my outfit today because I'm feeling very extra cutesy with this. My jacket is from Chanel, and then my bag is the matching one. The back.
She really likes Chanel, or at least the videos we've seen, she's been wearing Chanel. I really don't have a lot to add from this point forward. I've pretty much made my arguments here. So we're just going to kind of watch the rest of the video until we get to the end. Unless something particularly egregious pops up, which I don't recall if it does or not. So from here on out, we're just kind of gonna, we got about 20 minutes left of the video. We're just gonna kind of watch it out. I'm debating if I want to make this a 3-parter or not, because I'm already at 1:12 here. So let's do this. Let's make this a 3-parter. I'll put everything up on the same day. You guys can just kind of catch it as you want. But, yeah, because it's just going to be too long if I don't. But I have kind of made my argument here. So in the third part, we're going to finish up watching this, reacting to it. And then I want to talk about Hannah's reaction to her comments and basically just wrap up my overall argument here. So thank you, everybody who's been watching. Go ahead down below if you've made it this far. Leave a apple. Put an apple down below in the comment section down below. Let me know what you guys have been thinking about this so far. Do you watch Becca at all? Does anybody watch Becca Bloom? Like I said, she's only been around since January, but she does have 3.5 million people on TikTok. I don't know how that translates to YouTube. I don't know. Let me know what you guys know about her down below. Did you watch Hannah's video in the Raw? What did you think about it? Because it's, I think, 2 days old as of today, today being the 6th of August, and that kind of a thing. So I've pretty much said what I'm going to say where I said it. So if you have questions or need me to explain something, please use timestamps because I will forget what I have said. And that just helps me get back to what we were discussing. And that's pretty much all I've got. So this is the end of part 2. We will wrap up in part 3. It'll hopefully be very brief. But thank you to everybody who's been supporting the channel. Thank you to my subscribers. Thank you to my members. You guys rock. Thank you to everybody who's going to hit the thumbs up button. And this is going to go out to members first, as will part 3. They're probably both going to go out today. At least that's my goal. And I will see everybody in the next one, which will be the final part. Until then, bye!
This is my outro music. You can't copyright strike me because it's just me singing. This is my outro music. Thank you for watching. See you next time.